Hey everyone, Thorgrun back for the third video in the WoW Hosing Homestead channel. We're just looking at my Alliance house here. This is just like a quick run through on what I'm doing, a quick what my thoughts are. This is more of a rough build, actually. I call it a rough build because I didn't really have a plan beforehand. And actually what I just did there is there's a slight bug with trying to get everything lined up perfect. I'm sure there's a key that I don't know about that would nicely maneuver this, but that's just the fun part of figuring everything out. So going on here, what I'm really just trying to do is I'm working on the actual, where I want the engines to be on the flying zeppelin, or I wasn't sure quite what it was going to be at this point, but it does turn into a zeppelin. I did figure out a balloon using the sturdy tents. You'll see that here in a minute, because you can see me trying to figure out the bottom right now. I saw some people do some really clever things with the wagons, so that's just what I'm trying to do right here. I'm just trying to get like a ship hull. I debated on using the table trick, but I feel like I'm going to run out of decor pretty quick using the tables and a few other shenanigans that I've seen produce amazing looking ships. However, here I'm just kind of trying to position some of these panels to look like a ship hull, but I didn't like how square it was. There's just a few other aesthetic details I didn't like. I also felt like I was just going to take up too much time. And yeah, of course, server shutdown I wasn't paying attention to. It's always a good time. But without further ado, let's get to the actual build. Here we're continuing on. I kind of wanted to see it from both sides. So I throw panels up on both sides here. There's a large gap in the bottom. I feel like I just couldn't fill well. Going through here. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the what it was gonna look like. So you can see me trying to go through all the fun, slow monotony, pushing everything together. This is at 6 times speed. However, going through all the item list sets here, I did get lucky and I found the sturdy tent. I believe this is the covered sturdy tent. And as you can see, it kind of looks like half of a balloon or a blimp-like structure. So I figured I'd just leave the open side up top. And that would probably leave me to create a nice blimp as well. Actually, that's the finished product, so you'll see it here in a second. Getting all the sizing right was a bit of a pain, but I do it for the love of WoW Homestead. No, but in all reality, like it was a lot of fun, but at the same point, it was like you got to get everything, and there's quite a few little nitpicky things about the tent that you'll see in the video, like they were poking through the floor, and sometimes you just gotta get things lined up in such a way that they look a little bit more natural, because I tried to do them all the same size in the beginning, as you'll see, I think at 170, but then they didn't fit together. There was a little bit of overlap on some of the parts, and sometimes I just don't think overlap looks super fantastic. It really helps the whole build if you don't have a whole lot of cutting, or what's called clipping, because like here we have some clipping, or as you can see around the engine parts of the actual windmill or the base, part of the engine net for the ship's sake. I actually ran out of sturdy tents because I'm not really sure where I had them from. I think I just got them from the original, or maybe I kind of went through and bought some things. Who knows? Here you can see I'm trying to size the middle two. because I think I did a bottom view and I really liked the idea. And I just needed 2 more panels, or tents, to do everything. And actually, the really nice thing about the tents is, like, it's a huge amount of coverage for the Zeppelin, and that only takes up 5 decor. So it's, like, the table trick would look nicer, don't get me wrong, but there's no way you'd have the decor budget for the outside. Like, I'd love for someone to prove me wrong, and let me know if someone does figure out a nice way to do it. Like, I'm going to be making an attempt at it here in a future video. But if someone else figures it out, I'd love to see what they put together. But here I'm just putting the last few small parts in place. Just trying to size them down, get them to look nice. I think I tried to play with, because I wanted to give the front and the back each a Zeppelin-like area that you could go into, kind of like, I believe the Hindenburg. I haven't looked up the specific blueprints or schematics of the Hindenburg, but I can, just based off old-timey films and Indiana Jones and all the good stuff from our childhood, or at least my childhood being a millennial, it's how I view the inside of a Zeppelin would be, you can kind of walk through it, which confuses me a bit, but I'd have to look up the engineering behind that, and I'm not building any Zeppelins anytime soon that are beyond the WoW ones, so I don't know if I'm going to get that specific into the engineering. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. I have a lot of fun building houses, so we'll see. But going here, I kind of wanted to give a entrance latch to the whole Zeppelin. As I mentioned, I wanted you to be able to walk through it, or at least see inside. I wasn't totally sure what was going on here yet, but I did figure out something to walk through it, using a very sharp angled trick on the platform, the posts, because you can set them to 49 degrees. You can move them 49 degrees in a direction, and you can still walk up them, but as soon as you hit 50, you can't walk up them anymore. So you can get some pretty good stairs or just ramps or other shenanigans using the 49 rule, I guess we'll call it, until I come up with something better. And here I'm just trying to position everything so it's... What's I doing here? Oh, I'm just putting the front section on so you can try... so you can access both sides of the Zeppelin. It's going to all of the... See, there's a little bit of clipping there. I think I told myself I'd edit that clipping out, because like it just ruins the whole effect, in my opinion. However, I say that, but I guarantee you I'm probably clipping 13 things in 13,000 different spots right now, and I don't even see them. So, like, as long as it's not too obvious, I don't think it's too bad. Moving on here, so we have the whole Zeppelin structure kind of together. Moving on to using the Iron Forge chains to kind of just pull everything nicely together. As you can see, I went through a few different ideas. I thought of the trellis and a few other things that could look really nice, but that's not... It wasn't quite fitting the way I liked. Here you go, I'm fixing that clipping detail, because I actually had to move the back few platforms out a bit, just because I felt like there wasn't enough actually room to run through all. See, look, there's a little bit of clipping right there. But just because I didn't feel like there was enough room. And yes, I made sure the Zeppelin was high enough where falling off the top would be fatal. Absolutely. It was an unplanned test right there, but I had hoped it had been high enough to make it fatal. I'm just trying to resize the blimp here a bit. Going through the fun shenanigans of, see, look, then clipping. But I pull that together real quick here. All that clipping. I didn't like that. It was too big of a door. I didn't like the clipping. So I figured I'd shrink it down, throw another post in. Sadly, the front of the blimp was actually left a little bit unfinished on the inside. Just because I ran out of decor. But here you can see I'm just trying to shift a few things in place. Just to make it, like the deck a little bit smoother. And that's me fixing the little bit of clipping. Coming from the zeppelin part. I think that's me slowly realizing that the sign that I did a video on in my first video has to come out, because we're going to be hitting the decor limit. Even, like, thank God that these iron forged fences were only one decor, because yeah, that's kind of one of the larger factors in why I use them. But so I like the look of the chains going across the whole outside. It's really aesthetically pleasing for just the zeppelin, but really the one decor. I'll be honest. Here's me just looking through everything, trying to figure out if I have all the placements just about okay, but I feel like I'm missing something off of the propellers there, because I didn't really like how the only part attached to the ship was a giant turning rotor. Yeah, they have the tails in the back to kind of hold them in place or into the wind, but we're using the windmills to fly, so it kind of felt inappropriate just having them hanging out. I was kind of looking for something to kind of put them in place, and I figured out some beams later to do it. But as you can see there, I was just kind of looking at the razor shore decor, because there's that nice garden I wanted to stick on the deck, just so it gives it a little bit more of a horde feel. I only really play the horde. I have my alliance rogue, but she doesn't get the attention she deserves. I'm just going through the whole ship here, making sure it all looks okay, making sure everything lines up nice. I don't know if I've noticed the front prop being... Nope, so here's what I'm talking about. With the, I just wanted to put something in place here to make it look like it was also holding the windmill, giving it just more of the aesthetic appeal, that there's like an engine inside running supported props on the outside. I'm just putting the last little things in place, just getting the sizing worked. I think I noticed that I was a little short on one side, so I just had to move the props in a little bit, which was kind of disappointing, because I think we lose a little bit of the rotor part connecting to the actual blimp. But I could be wrong here. No, I think we still keep a little bit attached. And here's me trying to, I don't know, like the color, now that I look back at it, the color doesn't match the house at all. So I think that would have been a bad place to put that. But here, I'm just trying to figure out, because the whole blimp is actually too large to fit into one housing slot. I kind of cheat a little bit by using the props outside of the area, the build area. I think I've done that on a few houses, and there's a few tricks on a few lots where you can use the elevation at a really nice angle with the mountain. There's one lot on the horde side, I think it's 19. I'll double check that in a future video. But it has a giant cliff that I wanted to build like a balcony up to, but I just don't think I'd have the decor. Maybe if I didn't put a sign on my horde property, but I really like my horde sign. Here I am just trying to fill up a little bit more of the the general feel and aesthetics of the Zeppelin, just because I gave it some more space there and it was feeling a little bit hollow, so I was hoping a bench would fill it up a little bit. I think I take that bench out here in a few minutes, or at least in the finished product. I know I take the bench out or move it to the front. And here we can see me just fine-tune adjusting the props, because we had to lower the front prop a little bit, as you saw earlier in the video, just because I didn't like how it was clipping with the house. I think we still have a little bit of clip issues with the two side rotors, so I think I actually pulled those out a little bit here. Also had an issue with getting the chains to fit nice. I guess I could have gone back and resized every single chain, but I kind of feel like we're already getting close to what my side, like on both sides of the house, can do for the walkways to the front. I debated on moving, and I still might move the house off center and kind of build. I kind of had an idea of building the house off center and then put like a deck for like a captain's steering wheel at the front, but I quickly ran out of decor, and I don't even think I've cannibalized my sign yet. So, and if I cannibalize the sign, it's really the note that I've kind of gotten desperate for a few more decor points. So here I'm just trying to figure out what's gonna work, what I'm looking for, what it still needs. Trying to put some decor on the decking. I didn't really like how it felt like you couldn't get around that first table to sit on the back. Yeah, I think those tables look really good there. No, yeah, we're just trying to build out the deck. It's not so much the rough build video, but here, just as the last concept for the airship, I went down and I think I cannibalized the sign off camera. I thought I did that on camera, but I guess not. Here, I'm just trying to build a gondola on the bottom, more of a viewing deck. Trying to figure out how to close off the Zeppelin just so it felt a little bit more appropriate for being a giant sack of hot air. It shouldn't have giant gaping holes in it, or not too many at least, because yeah, I'm sure if there was any sort of goblin tech involved, it would be just all massive giant gaping holes. But don't think about that. That's not important. Moving on, I'm just trying to shape and size the last few things. I've definitely cannibalized the sign because I have 203 decor. There was a fun bug that I tried to abuse, but it didn't work, where if you fly high enough, you can get away from the decor points of the ground, but it didn't quite work. It still hits you on the decor limit. Even though it will, you could say you're at 210 of 250, but it still says you're hitting the decor limit. I think the sign here took up like 50 to 70 to outside decor, which is absolutely appalling amount. But the signs do look so good. Well, there might be some bias in that thought, but I really enjoy with the signs. Here's where I'm just figuring out the rule for what you can and can't get up. I'm just trying to make a little area through the blimp so we can get to the gondola. I like how that opens, and it kind of opens like a trap door. Well, that's all I got for you in this build video. The Zeppelin's pretty much complete. I'll drop a picture of it for the thumbnail, and we'll go from there. But my next video I should be uploading in 2 to 3 days, and I look forward to doing another rough build video. But I'd also like to get in some tours here soon. I have a few friends that have some really nice houses, and I plan to check those out But stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe. And just as a final little view, I have a night view of the airship, because this is the best time I have to do voiceover work. Being a family man of sorts. We're just giving you a quick view of everything. The gondola on the bottom, which I really like how it turned out. It's a very Horde-esque airship in the Alliance space, so I kinda like that a little bit. But thanks everyone for watching. Look forward to the next video.